Okay, great questions. I know a lot of you want just this to be over with. You're tired of this book already after like the first chapter. But really good questions. Like I have to say, you're reading very well. Okay, Davidov. So yes, the scene that we witness in chapter 3 is a very immodest scene, indeed, right? We're not, this is not the Judaism of today. This is the Judaism of ancient Israel, and things were a little more loose, right? So definitely it's a scene that's we see as somewhat inappropriate. Even then it was inappropriate. Remember, she's a Moabite. She doesn't know, she's coming from a completely different context where this is probably. That's true. Thank you. You were about to pounce on me. Okay, yes, you're right. Naomi tells her to do that. It's not Moab. I'm sorry, Ruth. Yes. Yeah, very good. So absolute manipulation, right? Moving, on this man with the feminine charm, trying to seduce him. The uncovering of the feet is, again, the Bible is very discreet when it comes to sexuality. That's a kind of a veiled way of saying that she, well, we'll leave it to your imagination, your fertile imagination. So definitely there's some sexual thing going on there, right? So yeah, definitely it's and the way it sets up, right? She's bathing, anointing. This is typical of sacred marriage literature. It's indicating this woman is moving into a different phase, right? Just like Inanna, remember the text where she bathes and anoints and then marries Dumuzi. This is the same language is used here. We know something is going to happen just from her doing that, right? So great, yeah. So yes, I'm sorry to disappoint you. There's no tzniut here, no modesty, very brash, very brazen. Typical of wisdom literature. When you get to the Song of Songs, it get worse, right? It's very, the women in wisdom literature are they're powerful, seductive women. It's very different from the patriarchal, they're kind of breaking out of patriarchy, all of them in a certain way, right? In that sense. And when we do Song of Songs, you'll see that even more. And so yes, Davidov, so it's interesting. I want to talk about that a little bit. So a lot of you asked this question. So we know already it's not his duty to marry her, right? Very clearly, the redeemer of the land is only entitled to, doesn't matter who died, who's the widow, who's an orphan, he's just dealing with the land, right? There's no clause in the Bible that he has to also save the whole family of orphans and widows, right? Just the land, to keep it in the tribe, right? The idea is not about people, it's about keeping the land in the hands of the Israelites, right? Now, look what Boaz does. So there's this, so the tension heightens when we realize there's a guy closer to Naomi who is the one normally supposed, because the closer relative is the one who redeems the land, who has to do it. So Boaz is not the next in line to redeem the land, right? There's this other guy comes first. And by the way, he has no name. Epstein, you underlined that very well. What does it mean? What is the text trying to say? What's the author trying to tell us by leaving this guy completely faceless and nameless?
I thought it was just a way to say this character isn't all that important.
Okay, exactly, right? He's not important. We want to blot him out. In fact, he's ruining the story, right? In a way. So we kind of want to, hurry, just move out. So the author is kind of trying to like already gloss over this guy. Now, that's why he appears. I think you asked the question. It's for tension, of course, for dramatic tension, but also because he is the closer one to Naomi. So he's the one who has the duty, not Boaz. So Boaz doesn't even have the duty to redeem the land. He has no duties. Everything he's going to do is stemming from chesed, right? Not duty. Now, notice what he does in order to get his way. So after he's been seduced, and we'll talk about the steps of seduction that Ruth takes, and I'm going to ask the men if you're going to check my interpretation today. So, but definitely he decides, he wants this woman. What is he going to do? He also begins to manipulate. What does he do to make sure he ends up with her? So he's also not kosher. His actions now start to become a bit dishonest. Well, what does he tell the faceless man about the land that he has to redeem?
You want to answer something?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, he says it's a package deal.
Mhm.
You have to redeem the land and take those.
He invents this. This is a complete figment. He invents this scenario.
And he purposely calls her at this point, even though he doesn't talk to her this way. He purposely refers to her as the Moabite woman.
Okay, yeah.
But remember, you're not supposed to be with the Moabite.
Exactly,
So,
exactly.
he's not very attractive to you.
Very good.
It's a package deal. You
So
gotta do that.
absolutely dubious here too. So now Boaz is manipulating things, right? He's like, see, if you get the land, you should get the land. That's true. But, and he makes it impossible for the other guy to want to get the land, right?
But
Because,
the other guy also hears this, and he's got the dog whistle already.
oh yeah,
He's
he's
like, he knows that Boaz wants to marry. this
that
woman.
could be also. But he makes it very hard for the other one because if he marries Ruth and they have a son, the land goes to that son and not, I mean, he has to share, right, between his kids and that new son. And he's, it's gonna create chaos in my family. But so notice how Boaz, he really invents this new law. It's not in the Bible that you have to marry the widow of the land. And in fact, the widow is Naomi, not Ruth. It's complete, right? So it's interesting. The whole book is about dishonest, manipulative action, which in the end, God blesses. Can you explain this to me? What's happening? Yes.
Might be kind of like the Greek myths where the heroes often aren't just like super strong, big guys. A lot of times they win whatever fight they're having by tricking their enemy or using some sort of, manipulation or whatever it is. But they're, held up as like the heroes because they're clever, they're smart, they use what
Okay.
they have at their
So
advantage.
God likes cleverness. He's like, oh, I love these. Let me. Is it that, or how else could we see this? I like that because it actually works. There's even a parable of Jesus where he praises cleverness and trickery, which is also very shocking. So why is it that God enjoys cleverness in human beings? What is it that he likes there? What is it in the actions? They're distorted, they're manipulative, they're dishonest. What is it in the actions that God still sees? I'm going to bless this whole thing. Yeah.
Initiative.
Very good, right? This is what God loves, right? Human initiatives. There's no movement of the divine without human movement. And I think I mentioned this already, right? If you're just sitting there waiting for God to bless you or give you direction and so forth, it's not going to happen. You have to start moving. You have to take the step, take the risk, take the leap. And then, right, things begin to open up or close and you receive guidance. So the same thing, right? God enjoys human initiative because it's a partnership. If we do nothing, God his hands are tied, right? It's boring for him. So very nice. Anything else that God enjoys about these actions? Yeah.
But humans can figure out the right solution.
Okay, very good, right? He's like, oh, he's following them. Notice how this is very typical of wisdom literature. God is not in the leading role here. God is following. Remember, we saw him before as an instigator, right? Here, he's following the human initiative and, kind of going along. And in the end, right, in the direction that it was headed, he pushes it a little further, right? So there's really there is a praise here, an honoring of human initiative, human action, human decision-making, human wisdom, which we don't see, which we're not used to if we stay strictly in religious text. I noticed also the action is all wrong, but the intention is pure, right? There's something about the purity of the intentions here. They're all doing this for each other, right? All of them, by the way. Naomi pushes Ruth for Ruth. Ruth asks to be married for Naomi. Boaz marries Ruth for, you see what I'm saying? So there's not really, the actions are very brazen and skewed, but the intention is usually out of love for someone else. It's out of chesed is the underlying current here that animates the intention. And because of this, even though the action is messed up, right? So in a way, this is beautiful. I mean, if we start to, I usually like to read the book of Ruth as a book of sex education, right? There's something we can learn here is that if you have the right intention in a relationship, we are all, I'm just preparing you. As we enter relationships, the chaos and the mess of relationships, we're going to make mistakes, right? You're going to make the wrong decision, take the wrong step, do the wrong thing, say the wrong thing at the wrong time, and so forth. This is going to happen, right? what we learn here is that if our intention is pure, in the end, God, right, can push it through, can bless it, right? The blessing is not based on the rightness or wrongness of your action, is based on the rightness or wrongness of your intention. We see this especially in the Song of Songs, which we're going to study, where the couple breaks every rule and they are themselves very broken. And yet God, right, in the end, their love succeeds, right? So there's something here to be said about the power of intention, even though we move in a way that is sometimes we make the wrong moves, we make mistakes. If the intention is pure, it carries the whole thing through, right? It can carry the relationship through. So that's one more thing that we can say about that. Okay, great. Let's see who else. Yeah, I'm curious. The baby's named Oved, which means slave. What's going on? Me too. I just realized that. And you're like, I thought we were past disparaging names, right? Anybody any ideas? Why, right? Oved is a slave from Avad to slave. Anybody have any ideas? I don't know. Let's look at the Hebrew. Where is it? I mean, if it's Avad, it's Avad. I mean, I know, but you know, it's like a substantive of the verb. Let's see.
But
Really choose to serve.
is
Yeah, to serve.
This would
To
be
work.
serve.
Serve, work, is that okay? Yeah, okay.
Worshiper or.
Ah, worshiper.
Servant of the Lord.
All right, we good. All right, we redeemed it. Okay, very good. Great. Let me see if there's anything else. I think.
It's probably, like, it's like same as Obadiah.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
can call them Obed-El or El-Obed, like maybe servants of the Lord. or something.
No, you're right. There's no name of the Lord, which is unusual, right? There's no. Okay, I take it. I take it. All right. Anything else before we get into the text? Okay, today we're going to do some advanced sex education in terms of the art of seduction. So now today I'm there sadly only two women or three, sorry, three women in the room. Two of you still need the arts of seduction. You are already well settled. So you're good. You success, the success story. Oh, you're not? Okay, then three of us, four of us need the arts of seduction. Now, what I'm going to say today, this is my analysis of how to seduce a man. So, but I need y'all to tell me if I'm on the right track. Okay, are we good, men? Men? Yes, you will help me, okay? Because this is me trying to see, okay, what did she do? How did she do it right? But since I'm not a man, I'm not quite sure of myself. So you guys will confirm or infirm what I'm saying. Ready? Okay. So first of all, this is the first thing I'm noticing here. So clearly Ruth seduces Boaz, right? This is very clear. She succeeds. So I, as a woman, am curious, how did she do it? Because I would like to have this kind of power, right? In my own relationships, right? She's able to really bring him around to what she wants. Look, this is superpower. If I can do this as a woman. So sorry, guys, right? This is how we think. How can we best control and manipulate you? So I'm curious. I want to know, let me put it more mildly. How might I influence the man that I love in a direction which I think is, good, wise, beautiful in terms of many things, right? Okay. So first thing we know is it's not she's beautiful, right? She's not particularly beautiful. She's not, she does, kind of make a sexual move, right? But this only, and Boaz reacts, right? And he tells her, your chesed is more than I deserve. So basically, what does this mean? It could mean that, she's, by the way, she's half his age, right? So that might be the reason. So he really reacts in a positive way and he's surprised, right? He's very surprised that she makes a move on him. Any ideas why he's so surprised? And why he says your action, this act of seduction is an act of chesed. That's crazy. That's a bit unusual. Yes.
And he tells her in the story, like you could have married a younger guy or a richer guy.
Got it. Okay, so mainly, right, he's much older, probably, that he calls her his daughter, right, the whole time. So they're probably 20 years apart. And he's shocked, and he might have been, so the story tells us he might have been attracted to her, but didn't think it was appropriate to make a move. Otherwise, this is why he was so passive, perhaps, right? He's like, I'm not going to turn myself into ridicule by making a move on this younger woman. So the fact she comes onto him, he's right, pleased and shocked, and okay. Now,
Like even before, she's demonstrated her character to him.
Right, right.
And all of her actions previous. to that. And he, in turn, is well aware that she's a woman without a man to protect her.
Right,
So he,
right.
you know, immediately when he first was like, don't go to other people's fields. And he tells the young men who are working there, don't bother her. You know,
Exactly. So
but
he
it's
already
like
likes her.
He knows that people are capable of bad intent.
So we can sense in the text there's some sexual tension between them already from the start, right? Because he's protecting her, he likes her, and this is why, in a way, she is able to make this move, right?
She disappeared out of nowhere one night. He's already taken her measure.
Very good. Now, let's look at what she tells him, right? Where is that exactly? Let's look at chapter 3. Okay, yes, excellent. So it's very, very short, but it's very laden. This is verse 9. So who are you? He asks, right? She replied, I am your handmaid, Ruth. Spread your robe over your handmaid, for you are a redeeming kinsman. Now, hold on, 3:9. Yeah, that's interesting. I have spread your wings over, right? Yeah, that's what I want. Who's good in Hebrew? Help me out here. What does it say? Here, verse 9. Is that wings?
It could be wing, it could be a wing, it could be.
Nafeta is generally wings.
It's just-
Okay, interesting. Oh, well, that's much better. What the hell is it? Why do you translate like that? Okay, yes, now this is important. The wings is important. Where else did we see this notion of spreading the wings? She's echoing something that was spoken earlier. Did anyone catch it? Go to chapter, where the hell is it?
When she tells Naomi she'll be under her wing.
No, chapter 3, sorry, chapter 2, verse 12. Go there and see what's there. Chapter 2, verse 12, we have, so Boaz is talking to her when he first meets her, right? In the field. And he tells her, right, but may you have a full recompense from the Lord, under whose wings you have sought refuge. So Boaz earlier had said, I hope God will protect you. What is Ruth doing here? It's very important. When she's, in other words, translating, right, do unto me what God, right, should what you have wanted God to do unto. In other words, instead of laying the responsibility on God, take the responsibility, right? So she's translating. So he kind of sees her and he's, he's worried about her. He's sympathetic to her plight and he says, oh, may God. And now she's like, may you, right? So notice how she's in a way infusing in him the divine power of protection. This is very important. We're going to talk about that in a bit, right? So she starts out by saying, may you do unto me this divine action of protection. May you become unto me like God who protects. May you become to me my redeemer as God is my redeemer. You see, this is a very powerful moment. She's giving him, first of all, she's giving him almost the title of the divine masculine, right? She's saying, be God unto me. Well, not to worship, but perform the divine, give me the divine protection, right? Take that upon yourself. So this is very important, where we're going to come back to that. Okay. So now let's look a little bit, hold on. No wonder I'm confused. I covered one of my pages. Okay. Now, let's look a little bit. So she says that. So that's the first thing, right? Let's go back to chapter 3. I'm your handmaid, Ruth. Spread your wing over your handmaid. If it's spread your robe over your handmaid, this is an idiomatic expression for marriage also, right? The idea of covering the person with your robe is a expression of, covenant. So it's ambiguous. And then for you are a redeeming kinsman, right? Where she's in a way, she's merging the two, right? She's merging the kinsman redeemer who's supposed to marry the widow, and she's merging the redeemer of the land. So she kind of merges these two. By the way, did Ruth ask her to ask this question? What was the thing which she was what did Ruth tell her to do exactly? Yeah.
She tells her to go in, to wait till these.
Just go.
Sleep,
Exactly.
Lay down there.
And then he will tell
then
you.
he'll know.
He will know what to do. She's not waiting for him. She's taking a very powerful initiative. Exactly. So she takes a very powerful initiative and gives the vision. She gives the orientation that she wants the relationship to take. Instead of remaining very passive and letting him take the lead, she takes the lead. It's also very typical of wisdom literature, right? Very subversive. Okay. Okay, now that we have this, let's go into, so in other words, yeah. All right, so let's look now a little bit at the structure of the seduction, right? Let me begin by saying something. So now I need my men to pay attention and confirm or infirm what I'm about to say. You guys ready? Men ready? Oh, too bad Epstein went away. Okay. So he fled. Okay. First thing I'm noticing, and I'm checking with you guys to see whether it's true, is that the way she seduces him is by inspiring in him a loving action. In other words, it's not by doing something loving to him, it's by inspiring him to do something loving to her. It seems to me that men fall in love when they're able to love or be received in love by someone else. Am I making sense? In other words, okay, let me make it very clear. Too often we women think that you will fall in love with us if we do stuff for you. What we're learning here is that she's in a way inspiring his action, seeing his greatness, and asking for this action to come forth towards her. This is in a way empowering him to act rather than acting for him. Are you with me so far? So in a way, what she's doing is inspiring love in him by doing that, by inspiring, by asking for him to do something for her, and by being receptive to it, she's in a way drawing forth his love. Am I on the right track? That men love by loving rather than by being loved. Suresh is, yes, is yeah, you could say that for the 4, 5, I don't know how many languages, love languages, right? So is that, am I on the right track? I'm checking with all of you. Rivera? Music a little. Okay, good. All right. So in other words, what we're learning here is that to seduce a man or to get a man to fall in love with us, right? It's not about, mothering them and doing XYZ, the laundry, the cooking, the cleaning. It's about really letting them sense that what they do for us is desirable, is drawing forth their action towards us, drawing forth, in other words, drawing forth their love towards us. And what she does is very powerful, because she says, you have what it takes to love me in the way I want to be loved, right? You have what it takes to love me in the way I want to be loved. And in doing so, she's empowering, or she's opening up the reservoir of his love, right? By telling him, you have what it takes to love me. Am I on the right track? Okay, now let's see how she does this. So first, yeah, let me just finish on that. What we're noticing here is the power of a woman's desire. And I want to stop on that a little bit, because we are taught for too long, or at least when we grow up in a patriarchal setting, we think we should be sacrificial. Our desires don't matter, right? We should do, and we should not desire, because that's selfish, right? What we're seeing here is that a woman's desire can be a powerful force for renewal. It can give orientation. It's in fact, desire here is wisdom, right? Because her desire, by expressing her desire, she changes not only the course of her life, but the course of his life, and the course of Naomi's life, and the course of the whole village and the whole world, right? So her desire, in a way, we are thankful she listened to it, right? Because it has, in a way, guided the relationship in a life-giving place. Are you following me on this? So what we need to realize as women, which often we don't, is the wisdom of our desires, and then have the courage to express our desires and draw out of the man this love that is usually just kind of dormant, right? In the man. The man's love is dormant until it is called forth by a woman's desire. Am I good with that? Does this quote work? A man's love is dormant until it is called forth by a woman's desire. Am I on the right track, or am I completely deluding myself?
You mean called forth specifically and allowing him to act?
Yeah, in other words, you love the woman who you feel that what you're giving her matters. You see what I'm saying? It's not that you don't love a woman, you don't fall in love with a woman because she's doing stuff for you. You fall in love with a woman because she's calling stuff forth from you. Am I making sense?
I mean, I feel like that makes sense within a relationship.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
It's been going on for a while, but I feel like it would be off-putting if you approach someone and you were like, you know what you could do for me right now?
No, yeah, this is very reckless, right? Thank goodness they know each other for a bit already,
Yeah.
right? I mean, so and he's much older and he thinks he has no chance with her. So in that sense, it's welcome, right? But yeah, of course, if someone comes up to me, it's like, so, but in a relationship that you've been in for a while, I like that. It is more, in other words, the love of the man is nurtured not by giving love to the man and mothering the man, but by calling forth from the man his own greatness, or the love that, or by calling forth his love. Am I on the right track? More or less? Rivera? Sort of. He's not going to talk to me today. Suraj? Okay, I'm good. Suraj, don't just nod. Okay. All right, good. So that's the first thing I wanted to say, right? We need to understand as women, and I think this is especially true here in Queens. A lot of my friends, right, when they fall in love, so girls, right, who are a bit younger, when they fall in love, they want to do stuff for the guy. I had this friend, she would drive him around to work, she would clean his house, and he would continue to cheat on her. Like, it wasn't having any effect. It was horrible. I was like, stop, stop doing that. So doing stuff is not necessarily what will seal the commitment. If the man, however, feels that he has what it takes to make the woman happy, I think this is what it is. She calls forth his greatness. She calls forth the reservoirs of his love. She basically is telling him, you have what it takes to make me happy. Then the man is like, she's the one. Am I better? Am I good? No, okay. All right, good. Okay, I continue courageously. Now, so knowing this is already very important, right? If the best way to love, in other words, let me conclude on that. The best way to love a woman as a man, the best way to love a man as a woman is in a way so that he feels that what he's giving you is something that is working for you, that you are in a way receptive, grateful, and appreciative of what the man is giving you. This is the way that we love. It's not doing, it's appreciating. A woman who cannot appreciate what the man is doing is going to lose that man. Am I so far so good? Still good? Okay, so in other words, if the man constantly feels like what he's giving you is not enough, is not what she wants, is not that, or and so forth, constantly being criticized and not feeling that what he's giving is appreciated, the man little by little will withdraw. And then the woman will be like, why is he so withdrawn? And then her girlfriends will say, well, because he's immature. No, that's not the reason. The reason is he does not feel that what he has to offer matters, that what he has to offer is treasured by you, right? And so what Ruth is doing here, she's opening up this reservoir of love and saying, you have what it takes to make me happy, right? To love me in the way I need to be loved. Okay. Now, this is what the time I want to spend on a little bit is how she expresses her desire, because we will be, as women in relationships, where we don't feel nourished, or we feel we want more, we sense there is a better orientation for the relationship because we have this type of wisdom, right? The woman she can often see or predict where the relationship should go in order to be life-giving, right? There is a certain wisdom in the woman's psyche and her desires. So, but the problem is, so we have the vision, but we don't have the language, right? So the woman will come to the man and be like, I am unhappy in this relationship. This is not going to open up any reservoir of love, right? Or initiative on the part of man. If you come like, I'm unhappy, and why don't you do this? And why can't we do this? And you're not doing this right. And you should probably get another job, and you're not making enough money. And I'm right. So what we do is we criticize or we nag. Honey, you said we were going to go there. Why are we going there? Why can't we ever do this? Right? Blah, blah, blah. Right? So we nag, we criticize. What are we doing? We are shutting down the man. We are not releasing the love. We are keeping it stuck. So Ruth, in a way, is a master in drawing that out, right? And that's what I'm interested in. I want to know how she draws it out, because it's there. The man wants to love her. That is very clear. Now, how does one draw it out rather than keep it stuck? Epstein, are you good? I see you simmering. You're bubbling over. There's some steam coming out. You were absent, so you cannot complain. You missed half of what I was saying.
I didn't say it.
Okay. Okay, good. I just sense your body temperature right now. Okay, good. All right. Number one key to draw the man's love, or to express your vision as a woman. And then Epstein, I'm open to what you have to say. First of all, notice she doesn't complain about how poorly he has been performing up until now. She doesn't tell him. So I thought by now we would be a little further along. And how long am I going to have to wait for you? And don't you see, you know, how poor I am? And why don't you help me? Why haven't you moved a finger? I mean, she could have. She could be like, I am your relative. You see how poor we are? Nothing from you. Nothing. She doesn't do that, right? On the contrary, she expresses the vision she has of his greatness, not of his poor performance. Because, I mean, to be honest, it's not that great. Naomi is starving. It's a relative, right? And the woman is gleaning all day. He's filthy rich. He could have sent, you know, a gift basket or something to not. No, this woman has to glean all day under the sun. Why can't he himself take Naomi under his wing? They're relatives, right? So she could have, you know, called him out on that, been like, you know, you're a very important man. You see, we come back with nothing. Why didn't you move a finger for us? Right? No, she says, I see in you greatness. I see in you the Redeemer that we long for, right? So that's the first thing she does. She focuses on the potential for the good and not on the potential for the bad, right? She's able to say, I see in you what you could be. I see in us what we could be. I see the potential for this relationship. I see your greatness. I see your inner wealth and I long for it. Okay, that's the first thing. Men, am I on the right track so far?
I don't know if they're specifically only for like women towards men. I think they apply both ways.
Yeah, of course, right. If a man says that to a woman, but to be honest, I think it's especially powerful when a woman does it to a man. We are not so, I don't know if I'm right, but we love praise, it's true. We do love praise, right? But I think the man is maybe even more open to it than we are. I'm not sure about that. We maybe I'm on the wrong course. Okay, you can say it goes both ways. I'll agree with you on that. Let's agree on that. Yeah, I agree. But yes.
She's owed anything.
Exactly, right?
So that's why she doesn't say, well, why didn't you do something before?
Very good.
I feel that, yeah, she feels that it's her duty to support Naomi at that point. When Naomi's capable of doing anything.
Good.
That Boaz conspires in a way because he's always allowing her to take more gifts from her, sends her home with more, so that Naomi lives in dignity and doesn't go out to be a beggar.
Okay, good.
But I don't think that she
Good.
feels that she's a stranger. She's not. She's in her right.
Very good. Yeah.
And she doesn't feel that she has an entitlement to ask for more at the very beginning.
Okay, very good. That's the second point, actually. Okay, so first point, you see the person's greatness instead of their poor performance, right? You emphasize the potential for greatness rather than the poor performance at that moment. So number two, she doesn't expect, she asks, right? Too often as women, we come and we expect. I expect you to do this for me. You're my husband. Why aren't you doing this for me? Or I expected that we would be further along by now. Or I expect you to put a ring on my finger by the next month, right? And we have expectations. She's not doing that, even though, and she, you know, she's not in a good position to expect anything, but definitely there's the tone of her voice is not one, I mean, it's very audacious what she's doing. It's almost a command, right? But it's formulated as a desire versus an expectation. She's not in a way binding them. He doesn't have to do it, right? It's imperative form. It's very strong request, but it's not you have to do it or, right? I'm going to, or, you know, this is going to happen. So this is the second thing that we miss as women is we come with expectations. We impose our will and we expect rather than simply ask in an open-ended way. I like that. It's a liminal space, right? It's not bound by the daily laws or anything. It's a very liminal space where anything could happen, right? Very nicely put. Very nice. Okay. Third thing she does, which is very powerful, she leaves her request open-ended as to how he will fulfill it, right? In other words, she says, you are a redeeming kinsman. She's not then saying, and in fact, this is how we should proceed. You should go by that field and just, take care of this man. And she's not giving him the list of how to do it. She's stating her desire and allowing him to respond in his own time and in his own way. This is very important. When you ask something of a man, you have to then wait for the man to if the man chooses to respond, that's not even sure, but if he responds, it is in his own time, in his own way. You have to be open to things being somewhat out of your control as a woman, and wait to see how the man is going to, if he is, and how he's going to respond, and then to receive that, right? Last one, which I really like, she's audacious, right? She asks for almost the impossible. She doesn't stunt. Yeah, she doesn't stunt her desire. She says, I see, magnificence for us as a couple. I see magnificence in you. Let's go there. Let's not settle for less, right? Let's not just be this. We can be more, right? You can be more. I can be more. We can be more. She has the nerve, the audacity to really push for the high, right? The bar is very high. She sets the bar very high for the relationship, but the way she does it is what has the seductive power. You follow? So in other words, two things for seduction: set the bar high. In other words, the man is not going to be seduced by a woman who sets the bar low, right? Men enjoy being worthy of a high bar, but then the way you put the high bar is not, stuffing it down his throat. It's, open-ended. I desire this. I see it in you. Here's the bar. And I see that you have what it takes. We have what it takes to get there. Are you following me? Does it sound exciting to the men in the room? Are you interested in this woman? I need the feedback because I'm not you. Yes, Suresh is just Davidovich?
Sure.
Sure. Rivera, I'm stopping to put you on the spot. Davidov,
Sounds like a lot of work.
for us, right?
For
What for you? I'm putting the bar and asking in a certain delicate way.
then we have to reach the bar.
But that's nice, no? Don't you like high? What do you prefer, a low bar woman or a high bar woman? Tell me. I'm curious. You like high bar? What about you, Epstein? We will leave you over there. Davida, high bar, Rivera? Yeah, it shows respect, right? To put a high bar. Suresh, high bar, low bar? Low bar. Why? Suresh.
Overconfidence it's just something that like to each his own.
But she's confident in you.
So that would be considered high work.
So she's confident you can reach the high bar. That's what she's doing, right? She called him my redeemer. You got what it takes. Here's the bar.
Okay, that's what
That's okay? Okay. It's not like high bar, but I don't know if you can do it. I doubt it, in fact, right? No, she's like, I know you got this. Let's go there.
Yeah.
That's the idea. Okay, excited. Okay. Epstein, we will talk later. Okay. Epstein's not in the mood for love. Yes. Exactly. There's a word. Now, this is what the reason I love this text is because as women, very quickly, we set the bar very low, right? Because we don't want to, we don't believe in this is bad because it shows we don't believe in the capacity for the man to reach the high bar. It's a lack of respect, right? It's a form of disrespect. I love the way she sets the bar super high, but at the same time, she says, you are the one who can do this. You have what it takes. I ask for it. I don't impose. I don't force you. You can do it whenever you want to, but this is what I'm seeing for. So she sets the vision, very high vision, says he's worthy of the vision, capable of the vision, and then leaves it to his own discretion, how, when, if to respond to her, right? How does that feel? Okay. I'm somewhat on the right track. Okay, good. All right, great. Now, let's look a little bit at the result of this. So he of course is inspired, right? And this is where the seduction lies. She inspired him. That's really the moment of seduction. It's not she uncovers his feet and gets all anointed. I mean, of course that helps, right? But it's not really what pivots him, right? Is first of all, her nature of chesed, obviously, he's sensitive to that, but also the way, but he wasn't going to marry her just because she's a nice girl. Where she shifts from being just a nice girl next door neighbor, right? Now, how do we call those, like next door? What? Yeah, the next door neighbor, right? She shifts from being just a nice girl or that's around to being a potential spouse when she, right, calls forth from him greatness. That, I think, is the key to the seduction here. Okay, now he responds, right? And we saw he becomes a bit manipulative and so forth. But what happens is now, so in a way, she brings forth his greatness, right? That is the moment of redemption operated by the woman on the man, right? Our capacity to bring forth, to ask, to draw forth the greatness of a man. That is where she is being, in a way, his ezer kenegdo. Remember in chapter 2, right, of Genesis, where she is the redeemer. So this is the first redemptive moment. This is redemptive moment on the woman, on the man, from the woman to the man. The man in a way awakens to his true greatness through her desire. She calls forth his true greatness. This is the first moment of redemption. Now, the second moment of redemption is what? Coming from who? What happens right away as soon as he steps into his greatness? What's the next thing he starts to do? Yeah. No. Yes, but what does, as he steps into his greatness, what does he end up doing over the next chapter or so? Yes,
He redeems now.
there she redeems everybody. She, in a way, has released the powerful force of redemption from him. He redeems Ruth, obviously, right? She's married, she can have a child, blah, blah, blah. He redeems Naomi, who now has a line, right? She's able to have to continue her line of her family line. He redeems, sorry, the town, right? So in a way, and he redeems the line of the Davidic line, the royal line. We were talking, I think you guys were talking to Suresh about that, right? This is, the royal line had been interrupted. There was no heir, which starts from the Judah, right? Judah is the son of, oh God, who's it? Jacob, right? So he was the royal line, and that line had been interrupted until Ruth came along and revived it. So he redeems the royal line. So you see, I'm seeing such connections between this and the sacred marriage literature that we read with Inanna, because once the woman gives the kingship to the man, right? The goddess gives the kingship to the man, like Inanna gives the kingship to Dumutzi, then she herself is fertilized by the man, and all of nature, right, becomes revived. That's a sacred marriage, dynamic or a framework, right? So both of them, in a way, redeem each other. She enables him to be king, and he fertilizes her, and as a result, all of nature is revived, and it's springtime, right? Same thing here, except it's a little different, right? She awakens his greatness, in a way makes him king, and in return, he, right, just waters the whole world, right, with his actions, right? So he saturates, right? He brings springtime into these women's lives, into the lives of the city of Bethlehem, and into the Davidic line. He renews it. Do you see? So both, you see how this is, I think, something I want to keep on maintaining. The man redeems, the woman redeems the man, and the man redeems the woman. They have this redemptive power over each other. And this is something we have lost, right? As women, we have forgotten our power to inspire greatness in a man, and men, in a way, for too long now are holding back their love, right? Not really giving themselves fully anymore, right? There's a crisis, I think, if I were to go a little bit, open a parentheses, there's a crisis, I think, in relationships nowadays. I see two things. I see the woman stepping into this their power, right? They're independent, emancipated, they have jobs, but they are not able to inspire the man to step into his power. I don't see that. I see the woman very powerful, but I see the woman incapable of inspiring or empowering the men in her lives. On the contrary, the woman very often discourages the men in her lives, right? So that's what I'm seeing. First of all, we have lost the ability or the language to inspire greatness in the men that we are with. And then I see something else. So that's the first thing. And this has to do, of course, a little bit with feminism, which of course is good. It has empowered us, but at the same time, it has made us a little bit castrating. Right? We are a little bit castrating with the men, right? We expect, and we demand, and what, I have rights, and blah blah blah, and we, in a way, we crush the greatness that is possible in the men of our life. So that's the first thing I'm noticing. Second thing I'm noticing, which is also very sad, is little by little, the men are incapable of truly giving of their love fully. There's a crisis of commitment, right? Maybe not immediately in this class, but in general, men have a very hard time giving of themselves completely and becoming fully committed to the relationship. There is a fear of commitment, right? A fear of marriage, which means the man is never really pouring forth his life-giving power. It's keeping a lot of it stuck inside. And so we have, in a way, we live in a wilderness because we women have forgotten how to inspire greatness in the men of our lives. And the men are too, in a way, fearful to fully give of themselves to the women in their lives because of this, inability that we have to call it forth. And so the world is left, in a way, a barren wilderness because the men are having such a hard time truly giving of themselves fully to the women in their lives. Is my diagnostic on the right track? Maybe not immediately for you because you come from more traditional backgrounds, but do you see it around you? A little bit? Davidov, I'm mixing up. Davidov, whichever, I'll mix it. Sort of. Okay, Rivera, a little bit. Suresh? Yes, okay. Suresh is my big help today. Okay, very good. Ladies, do you see what I'm saying? Kaplan and Corcoran? What do you think? Sort of? You're the feminist of the class, so you have to push back.
I'm really not. I don't know.
That title came from like one homework assignment.
Yeah, right? No, I think it's generally accurate.
It's generally accurate, right? So do you see the relevance of the book of Ruth now? A little bit? You say it was boring, middle-aged women's story, who gives a damn? Right? It's kind of what it is, right? But for me, I'm seeing so much wisdom and truth and so much we need to recover as women. And as the story, what we're learning here is the woman really has power over the relationship. This is something we forget. We think the man has power over the relationship, right? It's a vestige of patriarchy. These texts are teaching us the power we have as women to shift the direction of the relationship, but we have to know how to do it. We can't just be, reckless and castrating about it. So that was why I am inspired personally with the book of Ruth. Okay, great. Anything? Okay, now we can have a little bit of pushback discussion. I said what I had to say. Any disagreements or things I should remember? You're helping me. This is going to be a book, so I need the feedback to fine-tune some of what I am saying. That you are my experiment. Yes.
Does that idea backfire to you do you personally feel like it backfires on you as a woman in any sense? Like, if your role is primarily to inspire the greatness in somebody else, does it make you feel like you can't have your own, or that it's not your own, or
My own greatness?
yeah?
So personally, I feel very confident where I am. So, and as women, I see both of you are very confident in who you are. That's the gift of feminism. It has made us very confident. We're educated, we make money, so we have already, I think, because of the advances of feminism, a strong confidence, right? So for me, personally, it doesn't bother me to then turn to the other and inspire their greatness, because I do feel, because of the gift of feminism, I do feel already confident. Now, if there was no gift of feminism, I might need the support of a man to see my greatness and push me forward and so forth, right? So, and that's coming to what you were saying. We can also do it to the women in our lives, right? To bring them forth into the world. So if the woman has not fully left patriarchy, it helps for the man to see their greatness and to inspire their actions and to push them into the world and say, you've got what it takes to be this, to be that, to follow your dreams and so forth, right? So that can be your contribution, absolutely. If the woman is still lacks confidence, right? So thank you. So actually you make a very good point that the man can also do this in a way, empower the woman to reach her dreams in exactly the same way. I see your greatness. I think you should do it. No, I'm not forcing you, right? It's not an expectation. You're audacious. You set the bar high. You could be this or that or this. and you're seeing it and inspiring it, and but that will be more of her greatness in the world. We inspire your greatness in the relationship. You see what I mean? So so yeah, and the mother can inspire the greatness in the world for the man, right? See in her son, I see you could be this, I see you could be that. So you're right, this applies broadly, right? A mother can inspire her children, a spouse can inspire their wife to, but me personally, I've already received the inspiration, right? So for me, it's not at all a sacrifice to inspire the greatness of the man, right? If I see it. Does that answer your question? Anything else? Anything else? You guys, we have a little time. So Epstein, now is the time you could make some interesting comments.
I think you're picking on the exception, not the rule.
Okay, explain to me.
So Ruth is, and Boaz are in this really oddball spot.
Yes.
And to say that this is like a way to go about things seems a little weird since the whole thing is pushed by a third party
Mhm.
entirely.
That's true.
Um, they go through this process extremely quickly. And then to say that this is like a portrayal of how a relationship should look is, it's not what's going on here. There really is no time
Yeah.
frame for a relationship. So I'm not sure that I
Yeah, I like what
understand where you're from.
Yes, I like what you're saying, because in the context that they're in, this is oddball. In our context, I think it's more relevant, right? So, for example, for me as a woman, to see such a powerful woman shift the direction of her relationship is inspiring, right? So, in my context. So I feel like, yes, in that traditional context, patriarchal context, where marriage is simple, right? And it's a fact of life. And you know, the man leads and so forth, and the woman sometimes has some input. It's oddball. For me, in the 21st century, I find some interesting ideas as a woman. So maybe not as a man, right? I don't know what you guys found. In fact, I'm curious, did you guys find anything that you think applies to you here in that story? Me, I found a lot.
I think Boaz is an interesting guy.
Okay.
He's going at his speed and he kind of says, you know what, I'm gonna wait a minute, which in retrospect, if you look at it, his descendants, he's the complete what
that,
they
yeah.
do at all times.
I saw that. Yeah. They're very reckless, right? Very impatient. Yes, he's very wise. And I like that. He says, wait. Let's wait till morning. Let's not rush this, right? So he doesn't, you're right. He takes a second to catch his breath. He's wise in that sense, right? She's wise. Yeah.
Okay, there's process, and then he goes through
Yes.
the process.
Yes. He's much more prudent, right?
But he
Than
also
her.
manipulates the process.
He does manipulate the process.
He does, but he doesn't almost.
To a slight degree.
Yeah, it's a little bit
There-
dubious.
There
Yeah.
really is no obligation
Yeah.
for her to get married.
But he makes it sound like to the guy, I guess you could argue that he didn't trick the guy into thinking it was a legal obligation. He more just shed light on the moral obligation of you can't
Exactly.
just leave.
Yeah.
Which he probably did have a moral obligation.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Because this guy is most certainly not popular because he's lots of people who would think don't have names have names. This guy doesn't, which means he's
Oh,
so horrifically
yeah.
wrong in the situation.
I like that.
he's
Okay.
not even named worthy, which is a different punishment all to itself.
You know what could be the what?
Everybody's important. Anybody with any
In this
significance
building, yeah.
ever gets a name.
Yeah.
except
This guy doesn't get a name.
And
You're right.
Don't get names. And they're mothers of important people.
I agree with you. Maybe he was supposed to step up. Don't you think this guy, he's the closest redeemer. He sees the poverty. He was the one supposed to step up. He did nothing. I like that.
Even
Yeah.
if, right, Boaz wanted to marry her, which he could have after this was done.
Mm,
Even if the other guy did redeem the land, Boaz still could have married her. There was
That's a
nothing
good point.
stopping him. He had zero motivation to play this game.
It's good to have someone in a bad mood in class because you see all these things, right? No, but it's great. No, it's great because you see these things that we don't see, right? You're actually seeing this guy as a complete loser, which he is. You're right. Very good. Very good. Thank you, Epstein. Yes, go ahead.
If something, if things had screwed up the first time around, that, you know, you do get another chance.
Yes,
So like,
very good.
it's like whatever happened in her first marriage.
Nice.
She could still have the opportunity. to-
Very nice.
But not the other person.
Yes, yes. Book of second
Yeah.
chances.
So
Yes.
that's one that he's older. There's no mention of a wife or widower or anything.
Mm, mm.
So you wonder like, well, did he screw it up once? He
Mm.
didn't take the initiative.
I like that.
He didn't ask the woman to marry him, and then she married somebody else.
Yes,
or
very nice.
Something else went on.
Yeah, that
you know,
sounds like
And now he's like, okay, I got the opportunity.
very
I'm gonna
nice.
screw it up
He's
this time."
given the opportunity. So very nice. Yeah, this could be a book about second chances, right? You mess up the first half of your life, right? You guys will understand this book when you're in your 40s. Like you will come back to this book and be like, okay, book of second chances, right? I like that. Very nicely done.
That's another chance. Things that she's not
Right.
gonna be
Yeah.
just poor forever.
Very nice.
And along
Yep.
with she's got a new family.
Excellent.
And I also like the idea that, like, loving relationship, you can people kind of come with the idea of family structure.
Yeah, nice. I like that too. Yeah, very good. Yes, absolutely. And the family structure doesn't have to be by blood necessarily. You can still have like a family with, kinship, right? Relationship. Nice. Okay. Good. All right. So we are almost out of time. Let's call it a day. So we start Proverbs, and I'm still working on it, trying to see if I merge it or not. So I have to figure this out by, oh, we're leaving. Yes, we're gone. I have 1 minute. So good. Good. So we'll yeah, in any case, I will introduce it on Thursday. Yeah, I will introduce it on Thursday. So we'll see you all. No reading assignment. No reading.
You,
You said this is